Alright, I want to make a little bit of a shorter kind of video here. This is a battery holder. I'm told 18650 cells. 18650 cells. Pronounce my words, and I'm going to be building another one of these battery packs, so I have a second one of these things. This is one that I dropped, unfortunately, so I need to remove the hot glue, transfer it over to a new case. It's got a little LCD that'll read off the battery voltage. Ta-da! I think this is cute. Give it a moment, it'll load up. Yeah, look at that. Storage charged. Alright, and there's a little toggle button, little charging, charging in and out port for USB-C over here. And over here, there's a balancing lead and an XT30 lead. And over here is what connects to the Arduino Nano. Yeah, that electronics all controls this, and that's about 140 watt hours. Anyways, one of the big steps for that is spot welding. So let's see, I've got a little bit of a metal plate here with tinned up with some solder, I don't know, whatever you guys call it. I'm gonna fit that there. I have the little tray thing there to help keep everything aligned. And this is a spot welder, very generic kind of thing, set to 8,000 watts. I do not know if you want to really believe that, but in the future these batteries do die, so eventually this is going to be replaced with another battery. But for now, I got the charging disconnected. I've set it to 3, and that seems to work pretty nice. Oh, there goes that panel. Yeah, not the cleanest spot welds, but it holds, and for low force, that's fine. And there's a little toggle button right at the bottom, which I can press my foot down on to trigger the weld. Anyways, I'm just gonna do a couple little sets here, get that out of the way. And technically, I probably should have just soldered my wire to it first, but there we go. Make sure my foot's in the right place. Press this down with my little chopsticks. And I like these because I can adjust the distance that I want to weld at. There we go. That's one. Test it out, make sure it's solid, make sure everything's lined up for the next 3. And I'm going to come back to that one. This one I want to be a little bit careful with because this is the top of the cap. I don't have like all the space around as the bottom. The top I want to be a little bit closer with my groupings towards the center to make sure the weld holds. And as you can see, there's barley paper stickered onto both ends of the battery to ensure that while I'm doing my fussiness, I don't accidentally gouge out some important piece in the battery with the sharp metal. Very good. Now go back. Now, what tells me from these big weld marks, I probably am getting a little too gutsy with how much voltage I'm going in, and it might not be actually fully secured, but it's holding. Can't be too upset about that, but that should be fine. So that there is going to be, the left is going to be my positive lead, and the right is going to be my negative lead. Okay, so that's set. Now I'm going to do the other side. Let's make sure I've got the orientation correct. Always plan this out correctly so you don't accidentally spot weld in the wrong direction. This is going to go like that. So I want to flip this upside down get all those cells into my little battery holder there. Yay. Well, I've already made the barley paper a little bit dirty, but whatever. Nobody will see it. Double and quadruple check. This is going to connect like that. So I want the leads to end on the far right. This shall be over here. And this shall be over here. All right. And then I have these two little tabs that'll bracket it both. I think it'll look adorable. But yeah, if anybody ever like wonders, hey, why aren't there battery packs made in the US? Well, unfortunately, because if you have someone like dumb like me, practically useless engineering degree, trying to manufacture this stuff, first of all, it's going to be incredibly expensive. Just adjust that pedal out a little bit so I stop knocking that. And I take too long to do it. There are factories that manufacture this in bulk much faster than me. But for what I want to do, because I want to have 2 battery packs for my computer up and ready to go for camping adventures and whatnot. Oh, I definitely missed on that one. Hang on, I'm redoing that one. Ooh, I should not have done that. Lower settings. If you were going to spot weld in the same spot again, lower your settings. Holy cow. All right. Mild unsafetyness out of the way. That is secure. And that's good to go. Next up, this guy. And the reason why I pre-soldered it is because I want to keep my soldering to a minimum and to give a little bit of distance there. I get so disoriented when I try to pre-solder these pieces. Okay, that should be good enough. All right, that's one. It's 2. It's leaning just ever so slightly. There we go. Nice and pretty. Yeah, spot welding the back end is much easier than the front. Ooh. All right, yeah, I'm definitely going down my settings a little bit. That one burned it a bit. I should have pressed down harder before making the weld, but it holds, so I can't complain too much. All right, that's why you have the holder, so you help keep everything in place. Oh, shoot, that's right. I want these brackets here to bridge it. Now, I think I've made these too long. Yeah, I made these too long. So I'm just gonna go ahead and nibble them down a little bit. This is just whatever nickel strip came with the kit, so I'm not too critical about it. There, I bite it on both ends with the pliers. Grip, bend back and forth. Careful, the metal is sharp. There we go. Dispose of the scrap, because Somebody's gonna step on that if you're not careful. There we go. That's, yeah, I didn't make it much shorter, but I feel much better about that. I cut these way too long. So, hold it up. Clip. Clip. Bend back and forth. There we go. Now then, this is where the reed paper comes in real handy, so I feel much better. Thank you to Jordan for recommending that. Okay, here we go. Ramblings of a madman. I guess, wonder if I get it a little bit closer. Ow, cut my hand. I was not here, but in an install yesterday. Got a little bit careless with the cabinet. Okay. Let's hope that gets a good enough view. Got my foot on my pedal. Got the things going. I'm gonna try and focus on that. All right. Fingers crossed. Lower power. Good. Yeah, lower power was definitely worth it. Maybe even a little bit lower than that. What am I at? I'm at like 2.5. I'm going down to 2. 8,000 watts is a lot, I guess, on paper. So yeah, if you're shopping around and you're like, I don't know what to buy, you do not need to buy the 8,000. That is arguably very overkill. Okay, a successful bridge. I'm sure there's a better name for it somewhere. Somebody smarter than me knows it. All right, one more to go. Two works much better. Make sure you press down and contact enough. If you do not make contact and you press that pedal, you'll burn a hole through this stuff. So, yeah, take that as word of advice. Be a little bit careful. There we go. Cool. All right, that's 2 halves donezo. There we go. There we go. Next, I need to bridge both of those with one of these long ones. And then I'm gonna fold it together, make a little sandwich. It's gonna be cool. Alrighty, here we go. Positive to positive. I probably could have made a bigger stand, whatnot, but I think this should be accurate enough. Just counterbend that a little bit. Okay, so that can sit there. This is going to be a lot of welds. And that can sit right over there. Cool. Okay. If I make sure all this is straight enough. Yeah, I think I'm going to make another jig. It's going to be a little bit bigger, and I'm going to make up the things a little bit taller. Just a double size of this thing. And I think that'll help me out if I have to make more of these battery packs. But for the future, I think I'm going to probably go for some other type of cells than 18650s. These are very universal, and I like them a lot. Hang on. I gotta be a little bit savvy here. Make sure from the right side and the left side are all aligned before I make my first weld. I think that's close enough. Yay. Oh, yes. Okay. Come on. Come on, little chopstick. Ooh, I did not press down far enough on that. Well, that's something I'm gonna have to correct in the future. All right. Chinese chopsticks technique. Oh, shit. I did not press down far enough. Okay. And if you just jump it with air in there, is no good. There we go. There we go. All right. Let me make sure I do the opposite end rather than constantly scaring myself. Press down both ends, jump. Ooh, I didn't press down hard enough. I'm trying to be gentle here, but I really should just press down with my thumbs just enough. Ooh, okay. And let's get this one more. There we go. That's all jump together. Make my securing weld. Yeah, I think 2 is just right. I don't feel comfortable going down to 1. Okay. It's not a nice long one. Set and ready. Now we do the next plate. There we go. Almost wish I cut this just a smidge longer. All right, opposite end. The press. Trying to keep it all centered just enough. Ooh, there's so many sparks. I don't know, can this even see the sparks? Oh, okay. And last one. Oh yeah, you can see the sparks. Bit scary. It probably means I am using way too much juice and not pressing down enough. Foot pedal is so useful. Pressing down. There we go. Oof, that was way off. But let's check security. Good, good, good enough, good enough, good enough. Okay, there we go. And now here comes the fun part. I gotta press down, make my bend increase there, and fold it like a nice little sandwich. There we go. Yep. That is a spot welded battery pack. Look at that. What does this make this? 4S 3P something. Let me make sure I've got the orientation correct. I want this to be identical to the first one I made. There we go. Perfect. Check that out. Hey, spot welded a battery pack. Hey. Okay, so from here, I've got other things to solder to it. Positive, negative. I got my middle two leads and then this guy. So I have to figure that out, and I'm not necessarily going to show that. That's not necessary. This is the BMS module, IP2368, charging and discharging module. I find this works best if it's working on its own. It does not charge and discharge simultaneously. This works best as like a charging module, or if you have to discharge and charge like a phone, something at 5 volts, that's where this works pretty well. I've had trouble with this running at 20 volts because it's not always going to negotiate friendly. And then you got an Arduino Nano. Some of these have USB-C ports, some of them do not. I like the USB-C, and a little OLED. Oh, and before I forget, toggle switch, and a little, I think this is like a 5 watt or 15 watt step down converter. This is just purely to power the Arduino, and what I'm not showing here is a voltage divider to measure the voltage of this battery pack and actually report the voltage that is shown. So hey, there you go. This is how you make a battery pack, and I got a lot of work ahead of me to finish this. And until then, I hope this was informative to somebody, and I wish everybody a wonderful day. Bye-bye.